Hi, Annie.
Hi, Chad.
Welcome, everybody, to Real Chat with Annie and Chad, the podcast where Annie and Chad talk about real shit loosely related to the real estate industry. What are we on now? Episode 5?
4, 5? I don't know.
I think this is episode 5. Early this week. We're recording really early this week because I'm going out of town to the National Association of Realtors conference this weekend. So that's exciting for me.
Yay. I opted not to go.
I know. Really only one of us needs to be there. But I do think one of us needs to be there, for sure. It's a great place to find out what's going on, what's new.
And it's election day.
It is election day, although we're going to be way post-election when this comes out.
I know, but it still is, so...
Hopefully everybody voted.
I don't think we should discuss that. I think we're just going to move right on past that.
Politics is off the table.
That's
Politics and religion off the table. I left my notes on my desk, so this should be a wild ride. I think there was, what did I have? Two things on there, which I don't even really know whether you want to talk about them or not. But the first one was limiting beliefs, because we've had some good conversations surrounding that with the agents recently. And then the other one was, I heard somebody ask a question the other day to an agent.
Me?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
I thought you said you heard somebody ask me.
No, I heard somebody ask this question to a real estate agent the other day. I was interested in, it was fascinating. I don't know why I couldn't get the word interesting out of my mouth.
I don't know, this always makes me hold my breath to hear what you're going to ask me.
You're funny. We don't have to do that right now. You got something you want to talk about? Maybe I'll just throw it at you later when you're off guard.
How's your move? Are you
in? Yes.
I had one for you because of that.
For the most part, I'm in. There are still several things at my old house that are non-essential things that I need to move, like tubs of Christmas decorations and my lawnmower, which is not necessary right now, and all those types of things. So I still probably have 2 trailerfuls of stuff to move, but it's a little trailer. It's 15 feet long. So when
will this house go on the market?
Beginning of December.
Oh, did we move that? No?
I don't think so.
I was
December
next week.
2nd. Oh, Lord, no.
Oh.
Good Lord, no. December 2nd, the stagers are...
oh, that's right.
The stagers are scheduled to install the staging on December 2nd, so it should go on the market sometime that week. I think that's a Tuesday. My goal would be to put it on the market that Thursday. So, yeah, it's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath.
First of the year closing.
House, yeah.
Happy
Brand
New
new
Year.
house for somebody.
Cool.
Happy New Year. Will be coming on the market in O'Fallon for sure.
Yeah.
I got to get the rest of my stuff cleaned out. There's a few things that were on my to-do list when we decided to move, so those need to get done. They need to be on the done list.
Is this actually a checklist that you're going to use, or they just live in your brain?
They just live in my brain.
Yeah.
All my checklists live in my brain. You
it's
know
pretty
that.
interesting. I did not know that until today, that you actually don't like checklists.
I don't at all.
And I live for them.
I make checklists regularly. I have about 6,000 of them, but then I never look at them again. That's the problem.
So they're just a brain purge for you.
They are. It's exactly what it is. It's I need to stop thinking about this. And in that moment, if I write it on a checklist, I stop thinking about it. But
it's an age difference, because for me, I couldn't live without a checklist.
Really? Mm-mm. I do daily checklists. If I start getting things backed up in my day that I get,
then you make a list.
I make a list of things that I will mentally think I need to do that today, and then
But you don't do one for the
down,
routine things like
oh no,
pay the rent.
No,
I just made that one up.
No, in a world of auto pay, I don't have to worry about a lot of those things.
Right.
Those important ones I just set up from the beginning to not worry about it, which I highly recommend. I automate everything I can, honestly. It's probably how I get most things done, is through automation. So I wish I could automate a lot more. I need an assistant. We have an assistant. I need a personal assistant. Let me rephrase that.
Which, if we remember, that's how your job started 15 years
true.
ago when you became.
Exactly.
I'm a fan of a personal assistant.
I know. 15 years ago, I was running the Gold Stop. But yeah, it's true. In real estate, that's how my job became, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, the move is moving. I mean, we're moved. We're living in the new house. But use that term loosely. Our bed's put together, and our dressers are in the room they belong in.
Well, I had an epiphany today because I'm in the middle of a major remodel.
Renovation.
We'll go
I
back
called
and
it
watch
a
that.
rehab on the last
You
episode,
did.
and it's not.
Okay,
It's
yes.
a renovation.
So the epiphany I had today, besides choosing to live in that because that makes it not antagonistic, like I'm just having fun with, I literally am living in new construction. That's what I decided. It would be like building a house and telling the builder, but we're going to go ahead and move in. I literally have no kitchen, not a cabinet, not a refrigerator. I don't even have access to water.
I know you told me the other day, don't worry, I got my air fryer. And I thought to myself, what good is that going to do?
In the bathroom, in the hallway, which we don't use, that is now the coffee bar, like on that counter, because that's where we have water. We have no water.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have to go, when I make my coffee in the morning, I have to go then out to the garage where the refrigerator now lives to get my coffee creamer. And I thought, this is living in new construction.
You're living like a cave.
I have to put on shoes because I have to walk across subfloor.
You don't put on shoes when you walk through your...
No, I don't even,
no.
I wouldn't even wear shoes if they weren't like socially required.
If the sign wasn't on the door, no shirt, no shoes, no service.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I wear shoes.
So I'm I'm just living in that, but it's not bad. It's just,
It's a little chaotic. That's the way. So my house is not under construction necessarily, but it's just everything's everywhere, and life doesn't stop, work doesn't stop. So you got to keep going, and you do a little bit at a time. So I don't know. A couple years from now, we should be moved in.
There you go.
It's kind of how I feel about it.
I'm hoping to have a kitchen sink by Christmas.
I know, right? What epiphany did you have? I don't feel like you got to your epiphany.
Oh, of choosing it. We've done that concept on Waking Up to Win before, and not
How
going
everything in life
not
is
going
a choice.
well, not going against it, rather than every morning going, oh my God, I don't have a sink. Oh my gosh, I don't have this. Oh my gosh, I just stepped on a nail. You just choose, oh, I'm living in this construction zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can do that with without all that angst against it. So
Right.
it
It's all
just
about what
is.
story you're telling yourself in your
Sure.
head. Or you get to
Yeah.
live without a sink and see what that's like. I like that one. That's my favorite
Right.
way to change a story is, a lot of people you hear a lot of people saying, I have to do this or I have to do that. And if you just change the word from have to get.
Sure. I get to go out to the garage to get my creamer.
Right. It doesn't seem so bad when you change those words,
I
right?
get to go out to eat a lot right now, which I'm a fan of.
But
I'm not a fan of cooking.
That's
So
what I'm
now,
gonna call a silver lining.
Yeah. So last night we went out to dinner and I was like,
Where'd you eat?
I don't know that I need a kitchen. You don't want to know.
Yes, I do.
Sammy's in Troy. It's one of our favorites.
It's a steakhouse, isn't it?
It's more of a diner. You're thinking of Harry J's. That's the steakhouse in Moscow Mills.
Moscow Mills.
I should do that sometime. We should do we should go on location there, and I should show you all these amazing places to eat in Lincoln County.
No, serious. I mean, that's why I asked. It's one of the reasons, for our clients that live out in Lincoln County or whatever. Sammy's, I don't think I've ever been there, have I?
No, you've been to Harry. I've taken you to Harry J's.
Yeah, and that was good.
And Chubby's.
I don't think I've ever been to Chubby's.
Oh, well, you'll have
either.
to go because I'm also on the advertised as a realtor on the table.
Somebody sent me a picture of that the other day and said, "Look, it's
in Moscow
Annie."
Mills.
No,
Who? Oh,
they
no,
were at Dos Primos
Yep, also
in O'Fallon.
Who? Yeah, that's funny.
I'm trying to think of who it was. I don't know, but they didn't have your phone number for whatever reason, and then it was funny
My
because
phone number was on the table.
So I was just gonna say. So they send me the picture of it, and they're like, "I see Annie, but I didn't have her phone number." And I'm like, "It's in the picture that you just
For
sent me."
real.
It's funny, but anyways, somebody did send that.
Yeah.
So those are restaurants in Saint Anne.
Lincoln County.
What's wrong with me?
Moscow
Lincoln
Mills
County,
and
Moscow
Troy.
Mills. So what kind
We had a
of food
tornado
does
come through Moscow Mills last night.
Sammy's?
Sorry. We were on the map again.
Did ya, That's funny. Moscow Mills makes the map for two things: dive restaurants and tornadoes.
Delicious restaurants.
They are actually my favorite kind of restaurants, local. And you said Sammy's was in Troy anyways, didn't you?
It was.
Yeah.
It is.
So it's a diner. What kind of, like, they have hamburgers and
Yeah, you can get anything. Breakfast
melts?
24/7. So my husband always gets an omelet.
I don't understand. People don't like breakfast food.
Yep, always breakfast food.
I don't really like breakfast food. So that's fun. We had Casey's Pizza for dinner last night.
Okay, that's a Moscow Mills Troy thing too, because we have a couple Casey's, and that's delicious pizza.
Casey's is everywhere. Yes, but
well, I did not know
they're
that.
rural mostly.
I was going to say, because when I lived in O'Fallon, we did not have that.
They're rural for sure. I encountered it. Me and Mikey's first house was in Alton, Illinois, and there was a Casey's in Alton, Illinois, and the freaking pizza is delicious.
It's good.
And they've started delivering it now, which they didn't used to do.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that has something to do with
know that mine
Grubhub
delivers or not, but-
DoorDash. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's loosely related to real estate. If you live in Troy or Moscow Mills and are looking for somewhere to eat, right?
Yeah. So also loosely related to real estate is this election.
Yeah, today's the election, so people
I think
hopefully
that,
will get over their
I
fear
do.
and anxiety
Yeah.
by the end of.
I'm going to call it out. 2025 is going to be huge for real estate.
I think it will. There's a lot of pent up
Yes.
demand, pent up supply on both sides.
Sure.
A lot of people sitting around
Waiting
for X, Y, and Z, not just the election, but
No, and the advice I keep giving my buyers is this is a great time to buy before, right now it's not necessarily, we're still seeing multiple offers on some, but it's not 20.
no, we just had the one yesterday. We put under contract after they did what was that price reduction? $50,000?
Right.
$50,000 price reduction, and our buyer finally decided to pull the trigger.
Yep.
And we didn't even have to compete.
And same with sellers. If you're thinking you're waiting until after the election, so is everybody else. So come on.
It's true.
Get yourself on the market now before everybody else does.
I would not have waited had I been ready, but I wasn't. So
Yeah,
December
yours
2nd
is a little
the date.
different situation.
Right. We do close on our old lake house tomorrow.
We don't talk about stuff like that until it's done. So
No, I broke my rule.
You
and
did.
It's really making me nervous.
you did
don't
not
even
take
know.
the sign
yes,
down.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
It's
You
making
heard
me
it here
nervous.
first. Chad's Lake House is not closing tomorrow because we don't talk about it and we never remove our sign before closing ever.
Oh, it's an hour and a half drive, and I was there getting the last bit of
It's
stuff
half
out.
an
and I
hour
was
from your new
like-
house.
No, it's 45 minutes from the new house, but I was like, it's just the opposite direction of everywhere I
You
go.
have like
also.
a doom and gloom button over there that you could push.
Probably.
Chad took the sign down early.
If it
one.
wasn't my house, I would have driven back out for the sign because I don't want to jinx somebody
Right.
else's. But I thought to myself, and I argued with myself for like 20 minutes before I pulled the sign.
We literally set this superstition in place when we first got licensed. And one time we let ourselves take the
know.
sign down. One time. And guess what happened?
It didn't
Buyer
close.
didn't show up.
On closing day, the buyer didn't show up. Yeah,
Chad was in big trouble that day for taking that sign down early.
The lender on the other side of it they're a big bank.
You call it a walk of shame when you have to bring the sign back and put it back out. It's probably why we
You're gonna
really
start
don't. It's
a,
not even that we don't do it because it's a jinx. It's embarrassing as heck. The neighbors are like, what happened? And
so
Chad
funny.
had to say, I took the sign down and I jinxed us.
So bad. Was that the client that died? The buyer that died?
Chad!
Was that the same buyer where I had to put the sign back out the one time? I don't remember which deal it was.
No,
No,
I don't remember. I don't think they
I died the day before closing. 5 minutes after I took the sign out. And I was like, never doing that again.
It was
Doris,
Mother's Day.
wasn't it?
Don't say the name.
What?
But yes.
Okay.
I feel like we have to protect the innocent. It's like Dragnet.
They're dead.
Yeah. So the buyer was, we were closing on Monday, and on Sunday, on Mother's Day, we had the seller in the middle of COVID. It was, everything was crazy. It wasn't our client, but yeah. The other agent had to call, and she said, I have bad news. She was at Mother's Day dinner, and she put her head on the table, and that was it.
That's when we learned what happens to contracts and earnest money when a party to the contract dies, that was a yucko feeling too, but we got to do what your client wants you to do. So,
right.
Which actually, that reminds me of my thing. What are the 3 most influential transactions you've done so far, and why? Like just off the top of your head, no preparation. What? You as a real estate agent.
That influenced me?
Like the top 3 that stick out in your head.
We've already talked about the one, which was buying the septic tank.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if taking the sign down, that's just a silly superstition.
For me, one of them was the infamous cat poop house.
Oh, yeah.
That was one.
But why?
Huh?
Why? What was the influence there?
Because that was when I went in my head. So the cat poop house, right? We call it that jokingly, although there was cat poop involved in the story. The basement had flooded at one point, and they had remediated the water damage, and it was finished when they remediated it. So when you do that, you cut the drywall up halfway, and they blow the fans and stuff like that. Well, there was one wall that they didn't get wet during the flood. I'm acting like it was like Noah's flood, but there's just a little water in the basement. But anyways, the one wall didn't have to get cut up because it didn't get wet. Well, there was also a lot of people don't know this, but when you finish a basement, typically you don't butt the studs for the walls right up next to the foundation, because foundations expand and contract and they can move a little bit.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So there's usually space between the wall and the foundation when your basement is finished. And this particular one had this little it was in the corner, but there was 6 inches to get around to the corner to behind the wall. And the whole time we had this house listed, it had this funky smell in it. And we kept trying to figure out.
All the feedback was, it smells
weird.
And we did everything.
Air fresheners, air purifiers,
there was
cleaners,
no carpet. We did
fresh
it all.
paint, the whole thing.
Left the windows open.
Aired it out, whatever. And the smell kept coming back, and everybody that came through, so we couldn't find the smell. And you were doing an open house.
I was doing an open house.
And one of the neighbors who was looky-looing came upstairs and said, I think I found the smell.
Yep.
And lo and behold, behind that wall that didn't get cut up, there was, it was 4 inches thick of
cat poop,
petrified cat poop. And so I had to shimmy back there with a shovel because Skinny Chad was the only person who could fit.
It was literally maybe 6 inches.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to turn sideways. You see how wide this is? That's how wide it was.
You were pushing it this way, and then I had to grab the broom and bring it out the rest of the way because you couldn't shovel it.
I couldn't turn at all. It was just stand there like statues. So I'm crawling behind a wall, scooping out cat poop, number one. Also in that house was the DIY gone wrong, where they had an open area for a playroom or an office or something, and they decided they didn't want to open. So the ceiling was already at 8 feet, but the walls weren't there, so they were just framed in a wall. Well, he did it himself, and when he framed it and
it was more than 8 feet.
I'm saying the ceiling was 8 feet tall where he framed.
Oh, the door entry. It was a 2-story where. It
was a 2-story our living room. Right. And so the guy had built a frame in there and framed it out. Well, he didn't account for the width of the drywall. So by the time he finished, there was a ½ inch extra wall on one side where the seams met, and then a ½ inch less on the other side. But he didn't take it apart and fixed it. He just threw some tape over it and slapped some paint on it. So the wall went all crazy. And so we're like,
Back it up,
floating out drywall mud ourselves, and we have the paint scaffolding from our garage in there, and we're painting
But
and all of this.
You also got to back this up a second.
Yeah.
The client, we were not the first agent to sell
No,
the house.
we
So
were
the
not.
house was on the market and wasn't selling. So they switched realtors.
Yeah, they
to
fired
us.
their realtor.
They
and
had
switched to
already
us.
moved to another state, so they weren't here. They were already over budget. There wasn't money to like knock this out and redo it.
Right.
And so
To have a contractor come in.
It was us as their representation to figure it out and fix it for little to no cost.
Right.
So we brought my scaffolding and I held it while you climbed up two
stories in the air. So is it influential because it was at that point when I realized that it's not just show the house, write the contract, close the house, right? There's way more to it than that. And so I think that was, for me, one of the ones that sticks out as my top three. So the septic system for sure, and then the cat poop house.
I agree.
What the things that you have to do for the client. But what about a third one?
I don't know.
For me, it's
Which is really terrible that we name them. Like, so we have the septic house, which of course we love all of our clients, and it would be nothing for
it's about the house. It's not the client.
The house that we found the cat poop.
Right.
What's that other one that we have a name for? Because that's probably going to be the next one. All houses don't get a name.
No, just for me, it's the one where and it's happened more than once now. But the first one, Doris, where the buyer died.
I'm just trying. Yeah, that was one. I'm trying to think of one where somebody got us with their wording, because that's something that you learn. We have a client or a realtor in the office right now that is newer, and talking about how what you write. So you don't write things in, but what you do write, you need to know what you're saying.
All right. Well, and you need to clarify before you accept it what the intention
Especially
was
on
of the words.
inspection notices.
Right.
That's what I was trying to think. What else have we bought? Have we bought anything else besides the septic?
Not big.
No.
That window at King Richard.
But that wasn't us. That was really on the other side. We were just being nice and split it.
Yeah.
It just said repair the window. So we repaired the broken window, which was clearly not the window they wanted. So now we clarify.
Right, they didn't specify which window they wanted repaired. So we found a broken window.
I think it said repair the bedroom window. We're like, oh, here it is.
Right.
The things you learn early on.
It's true. Yeah. No, that's the big one. Inspection notice. It's why I typically will advise the client, if they can afford it, to just negotiate a monetary compensation. Because most buyers want to be in control of how things are fixed, who fixes them, all those kind of things. And that's difficult to negotiate and control when you don't own the house. Seller still owns the house when you're negotiating inspections. So I am a big fan of, let's just adjust the terms so that you feel...
As long as it's not a loan.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't cause a problem for your loan, and as long as you're okay making the repairs yourself. There are buyers out there, and we have them, half and half, I would say, that don't have the means to fix some of the things. So then you have to get it fixed before they close because they don't want to move in with it broken. But
that was a squirrel for me that I still find that so interesting now that we know what we know as realtors, is that people still think that inspections are pass fail. Well, this is never going to pass inspection. They think like they're going to get it fixed because it's not going to pass the inspection, and it's not what an inspection is.
Not that inspection is not. I think that's the confusion for sure, which we could probably do a whole episode
on occupancy inspection versus
buyer's inspection contingency versus occupancy inspection contingency. They're two very different things. So, I just had that conversation with one of our clients yesterday. And
sure, because I'm guessing there's an occupancy inspection.
Well, and the other one is a lot of lenders use. There is an occupancy inspection in St. Louis where that house is. But the other one, and this wasn't occupancy versus buyer's inspection that I had the conversation yesterday. It was buyer's inspection and appraisal. Because lenders refer to the appraisal as a property inspection, which is a property inspection. The appraiser has to inspect the property to make sure that it meets minimum guidelines for whatever loan program you're doing, whether that's conventional, FHA, VA, whatever. And all those different loan programs have different guidelines and different requirements of the actual house. And so that's part of that process, and they talk about that. And so then she was, the client was like, Well, our lender said they're ordering our inspection. And I'm like,
Good.
yeah, I've never seen never known a lender to do that. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about exactly what he said? But
well, no, and they're conventional, so we know that's not even.
No, it's not. They're literally, and that's what I said to her. You're a conventional loan, and that inspection. Yes, the appraiser's going to go inspect it. They're going to make sure that the doors are all there, the windows are all there, and that there's a stove.
A stove, right? Of all.
That's literally
I would
it.
not pass inspection right now.
It's true. You couldn't get a loan in your house.
I have an air fryer. Does that count?
That was funny the other night when you called me and said that, and you were telling me that. You're like, it's all right, I can heat anything up in an air fryer. And then the next breath, you go, Jamie's mom sent soup home with us, which you were very excited about. And you go, oh no, I'm going to warm that up.
I do have a microwave in the garage. I could bring that back in.
That's what I would have bought a little countertop microwave.
Or there's this thing, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's where you can get on this app and order food, and somebody will bring it to your door.
You are living the bougie life you've always wanted.
They use it on DoorDash in Moscow Mills. This is new.
Is it?
I mean, ish.
I'm serious when I say this. Your life next year is like you are going to have all the things you've ever wanted. Your open concept living room.
Yeah.
A live-in chef.
I know my mother-in-law's moving in, and she's like the best cook ever.
I know. I don't know whether she cleans or not. Does she clean?
She probably does all of it.
Yeah, live-in maid.
That stuff skips a generation. Did you know that? That domestic gene.
I think it skipped 2. Your daughter is not exactly the maid type.
Yeah, but she likes to cook and do all that homemaker stuff. My mother-in-law just says, you're just a business lady.
Knowing what you said this morning on Waking Up to Win kind of freaked me out, too. I'm still not used to...
Well, wait, don't say it. Look, link it. See if I want you to share it. I don't remember Morse code. What?
You don't remember it? Did you ever know Morse code?
My dad did Morse code. ... I mean, hello, Chad. My dad used to talk about Morse code, and my mom used to write in shorthand, which was like some aliens would write.
Seeing what I was going to say is, it's hard to believe you're a grandma, but when you start talking about this shit, it's no longer hard to believe.
It's because I look so young.
I know.
I'm a grandma.
It's hard for me, because it's not.
I only have two birth givers, and then I'm going to have 4 grandbabies under the age of 2. Is crazy.
By June
1st.
That's what I was going to say. That was a tip. You said this morning something about. Well, we were talking about gratitude statements, and that was your gratitude statement.
My accomplishment.
Oh, your accomplishment, right? Your greatest accomplishment for the year was becoming a grandma. How she got away with taking credit for that is beyond me. But
I'll take credit for anything.
And then you said, and I'm going to have 4 by June 1st, and I went, oh my God, I'm not even used to you being a grandma yet, let alone having 4 grandchildren. That's crazy.
Saturday night, I babysat both of them. And at first I was like, how am I going to do this? And then I was like, I might as well get used to it.
It's true.
Because I'm going to have 4. Itty bitties. Yeah,
so welcome to.
Yeah. I don't know how we got down that rabbit hole.
I don't either, but
there we were.
Did. So there was that. It's come the time of the podcast. She's never going to not have an inspirational quote ready to go again. What you got for us this week, Annie?
So because it's election day, and I know that will be long past, but it's still appropriate today, and that is agree to disagree, but do so with respect and kindness.
I truly, truly hope that is what happens by the time this podcast comes out, that is the
right. That we all support
that the country
whoever is voted in, and we're living our best lives, and everybody stops being afraid, and the real estate market opens up, and interest rates drop, and what else?
Amen, sister. We'll see you next week on Real Chat with Annie and Chad, the podcast where we talk about real shit loosely related to real estate.